We will start with Representative John Larson, who chairs the Social Security Subcommittee of the House Ways and Means Committee. He knows Social Security as well or better than anyone in Congress and is a tireless champion in support of making our Social Security system even better. Chairman Larson.
Well, thank you, Nancy. And that was quite an introduction, especially coming from someone who does know more about Social Security than anyone I know. So glad to be here with all the viewers. And again, you have to nod your head at the genius of Franklin Delano Roosevelt and what he was able to enact into law 87 years ago. And also, congratulations, and what an honor to be here with Social Security Works for the ongoing efforts to make sure that we not only protect, but that we expand Social Security, something, quite frankly, Congress hasn't done in 51 years. I'm also honored to be here with my colleague, Pramila Jayapal, who, as Nancy pointed out, has also been a leader on several fronts, but clearly in the area of Social Security. I can't thank her enough for her continued commitment to making sure that we get a vote on Social Security. And that's vitally important to all of our concerns. And to be joined again with my good friends, Peter Morey and Julian Blair, is just an added benefit. Martin Luther King used to have a saying called the fierce urgency of now. The fierce urgency of now as it relates to Social Security is that we are in the midst of a global pandemic. And that global pandemic has especially hurt people over the age of 65. More than 756,000 Americans of the 1 million plus who have perished are over the age of 65. And these are the same individuals that are hurt because of the effects of inflation. Inflation always hurts people on fixed income. And for the 65 million Social Security recipients across this nation, that means them. So it's long overdue that we make sure that we're enhancing a program that they need, especially during this pandemic. And especially, as we all know, with the latest variant expected to land in the United States sometime in September. We must be prepared for all contingencies. And being prepared means making sure that we're providing with seniors the means in which they can cope. There is no better program than Social Security, the number one anti-poverty program for the elderly and the number one anti-poverty program for children, as well as providing both spousal, dependent coverage, and disability relief as well. It is also the most efficient and effective governmental program that we have. And so everybody, including our colleagues on the other side of the aisle, should be joining with us to make sure that in this time that we take the government's most effective program that helps the least amongst us through these perilous times and make sure that they have the kind of funding that they need and not continue the neglect that has taken place. Now, our colleagues on the other side have plans, but they're not the kind of plans that we want to embrace. Rick Scott has talked about ending Social Security within 5 years, and we know it. Imagine that, ending Social Security as we know it. And the Republican Study Group has come out with more than 20 cuts, including a 21% cut across the board to Social Security recipients. And in committee and in testimony, they continue to talk about privatization. Let me tell you something. Ending, cutting, or privatizing Social Security will not happen. Not as long as Democrats are at the wheel and on the watch to make sure that we're there fighting on behalf of our senior citizens. Too many people, though, however, are not aware of the dire consequences that lie before this. And we need to make sure that all those recipients, some more than 3 million of our fellow Americans who've paid into a system all their lives and get below poverty level checks from their government, That's wrong. The more than 23 million Americans that will benefit from a tax cut because they have to continue to keep working in order to make ends meet. To make sure that everybody across the board, as Roosevelt had intended, gets an increase in their Social Security benefits, something that hasn't been done in 51 years, and to make sure that we repeal WEP and GPO and the onerous effects that that has had on so many of our teachers and firefighters and police officers and municipal employees. That's why more than 200 individuals have signed on to the Social Security 2100 Act, because we're out not to end benefits as our colleagues would, but to enhance benefits for the very people that need them at this most consequential time and for their health and for their well-being. I couldn't be more honored to join today in this conversation with Social Security Works and the more than 350 organizations that are out here supporting this effort to make sure that we get this across the goal line. It's just simply that too important for so many people who rely in so many cases where Social Security is the only benefit that they have. Nobody's getting wealthy on Social Security. It's the sustenance that gets everyone through the day. And it's the best, the absolute best economic development plan in every congressional district. More than 145,000 people per congressional district rely on Social Security, and more than 10,000 baby boomers a day become eligible for Social Security. That's why this is such a consequential time. Thank you for joining us today in this town hall, and I look forward to your questions.